Hi friends, happy Friday. I'm Victoria and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I do a lot of book content, reading vlogs, TBRs, wrap-ups, that kind of thing. And today is Friday. So you know what that means? It's the start of a new reading vlog. Oh, here comes my dog. It's the start of a new reading vlog. So in this reading vlog, the theme is beauty horror. So I'm so excited. I absolutely love books with commentary about beauty standards and aging and just like being a woman and having to live up to these expectations. And so this weekend, that's all that I'm gonna read, and I'm so excited. There's some really highly anticipated books that I have in here. A couple I have talked about previously. They were on my October TBR, as well as like my horror wish list. Actually, I think all of these I've talked about previously. So yeah, I'm finally getting to them, and I just thought, what more of a perfect way than to read them all together in just a beauty horror themed vlog. So here we are, and I'm just putting in a quick disclaimer here that some of these books might be a little bit triggering for people. It is about beauty standards, and some of them are about weight loss, so just keep that in mind. I want you to stay safe. We'll go into it a little bit more later in the video, but I just wanted to mention that right off the bat. Also, today is like my last free weekday before I start my new job, so I'm just trying to have a cozy, relaxed day. I think that's like most of this weekend, but so the first book that I have on my list is Rouge by Mona Awad. I know everyone is really excited about this one, highly anticipated, and same here. I can't wait. I need some chapstick. Oh, that's better. Okay. And I know everyone's super excited about this one, including myself. We have this woman who her mom passes away in a mysterious way. She goes to her funeral in California, and at the funeral, this lady in red comes up to her and says that she has info about her mother's death. And then she ends up showing her this video of this really strange like spa experience. And I am just so intrigued by this. Absolutely love the idea of like a cursed spa experience. So I don't go to like just regular spas a lot, but I have been known to go get lots of facials and things like that. So I just think this is interesting. And then the next one I'm so excited about, and that is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. This is also a new release, and I'm putting on some eye masks here, but it's also a new release, and it is about this woman who is pretty much like almost like a piano savant. She's very talented and lives in New York with her family. Actually fled China during the Cultural Revolution, but there's been some sort of accident that has like debilitated her parents, and because of this, I guess she's taking care of them, and she cannot continue her job as a pianist, so she goes and just works at a high-end like beauty store. The store is called Holistic, and it ends with a K. Holistic with a K. That's hilarious. Known for its like remarkable products and procedures. And then she like gets shot into this world of like privilege and seeing like all of these wealthy like elite procedures that people get. But she also like starts feeling a sense of acceptance here and belonging that she hasn't felt before, especially since moving to the States. And she just keeps like using all these weird things on her body, but then it says that something sinister lies beneath. So I'm so excited about this. I think this sounds so good. As someone who, I worked luxury retail for a long time, so I totally understand like the idea of like getting sucked into this like mindset and like how it just like skews your thinking. I totally get that. So I'm very interested to see like the commentary here on like consumerism as well as just like beauty standards as a whole. So I'm so excited. I don't see how this can be bad. Putting on little eye patches is like the best feeling ever. Don't you agree? Like in the morning, it's like, I feel like a new woman. Next one is an extreme horror, and I'm very excited about it. This was in my horror wish list, I think, as well. And that is #Thigh Gap by Chandler Morrison. I'm so excited about this. So this one, we have this model named Helen. Drastic weight loss has given her everything: money, confidence, attention, and respect. Being thin has legitimized her, and starvation has become an addiction. So definitely trigger warning. I am going to read this last. Hopefully, if that does bother you, you can drop off after Natural Beauty a little bit. But I do think all of these books might have some sort of triggering language. I think as women and men too, I think all of us can relate in some way to trying to adhere to beauty standards, and I understand how hard it could be to hear about those things. So totally understand if this isn't the video for you. I have other reading vlogs. I have ones that are YA and just cozy and fun too. So yeah, please keep that in mind and like just think about your mental health here before watching. So I just wanted to say that. but she comes in contact with this other model who is like her rival, and she thinks that like this other model is like totally superior, and she's having like these internal like issues with her self-confidence as compared to this model, and she kind of like loses control after this, like turns her into a tailspin. That does sound heavy, I'm not gonna lie. This is extreme horror, so keep that in mind. I don't read extreme horror all the time. I do enjoy it, but I am highly selective with it, I will say. And I do think I am in a good place to read these books, including that one, and not be negatively affected. But I totally understand if this isn't the reading vlog for you. It's Friday the 13th, so we are going to, it's called the Vampire Ball, and it's actually at a drag club. I was so excited about it because the Boulet brothers are hosting it. I don't know who the Boulet brothers are. They are drag queens, and they're also hosts of Dragula on Shudder and AMC+. The whole thing is like glamour, horror, filth, and drag, like all put together. They're absolutely fabulous. So I saw that they were coming into town, and I was looking for something to do on Friday the 13th that was like spooky, so this was perfect. So me and Drew, we're dressing up. We're going to the Vampire Ball. If you like RuPaul's Drag Race, Project Runway, and then like that show where they do like special effects makeup or whatever, like the horror makeup, then you will love this. This is like a mix of all of those things, and it's amazing. Like, you should definitely watch Dragula if you can. I love it so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my hair so that later tonight, I mean, I don't even know what time it starts, but I don't think it's till like later, probably like 8 or 9. It's gonna be late night. Every year Halloween is really like the time where we're like, okay, we're gonna go out late. We're gonna go to a club late. We're gonna go to a club at 9 p.m. So, which that's like normally where I'm like trying to wrap it up. I'm like, let's go home. But so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do my hair just so that I have that out of the way. I don't have to worry about it, and later I can just worry about makeup and like getting dressed. I will talk to you later when I have an update and when I have read a little bit of Rouge. I would just like to say that the Boulet brothers canceled. They can't make it to Denver for the show tonight, so I'm very sad. I was so excited, and now I don't think we're gonna go. I really have no interest in going if they're not there, so I don't know. So now I'm confused what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll just go to like a spooky bar or something tonight. I'm just frustrated because I spent money on a costume. And I mean, I guess I can wear it for Halloween, even though we don't really have any Halloween plans yet, but that's a bummer. Hi friends. Okay, so it's Friday night now, and I wanted to update you on the book. We just saw Exorcist Believer. Since the Boulet brothers canceled, we decided we weren't going to go. They were still doing the event, but with other drag queens, and we were like, I just don't care about it if it's not the Boulet brothers right now. So like, I'm not gonna get all dolled up and dressed up as a vampire unless I really want to be there. So we decided to just have a chill night, which actually worked out good because Drew had to work on some things. Drew had some like work things he had to finish up, and he was working till like 6:30ish, I want to say, anyway. So yeah, we just had some tacos at home and then went and saw the new Exorcist movie. It was okay. I don't think it deserves as much hate as it's getting. It has like 22% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which is rough. I don't think it's that bad, but it's definitely not, I wouldn't even, it's just not horror. There's definitely parts of the exorcism and with the girls that is scary, but it's mostly a drama. Like, I would say like 80% drama, and the actual like exorcist part was slim, and we didn't get a ton of clips of the girls either. Like, I would have liked more of them, but the girls were amazing. Like, the acting that they did, I mean, everyone acting in this was really good, honestly, but the girls, they are amazing actresses. It's kind of shocking how good they were. So yeah, really loved them in there. Movies can be hit or miss, and they are teenagers and in real life. So I was thoroughly surprised and really loved their performances, and I didn't hate the movie. It was fine, you know. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but it was okay. But Rouge, I am loving it so far. I can't believe how good it is so far. Essentially, our main character, she very much was raised in a home where her mom was in your face about how you look and beauty. And she talks about when she was a child, how her mom got her this vanity. Her mom would be like, your dad had darker skin and darker hair, and that's really pretty. And our main character would be like, she's lying. Like, obviously she doesn't think that's true. And her mom was very concerned about aging and her wrinkles and looks overall, and just would spend so much time looking at herself in the mirror, and you could tell it's very much affected our main character. And even when she finds out her mom passes, she's like talking about how she's watching YouTube videos, like beauty videos, like on a trip to California, and has all of her skincare routines, all of her potions, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting from a family. I mean, my mom was also very interested in aging and looks, and I understand because I am too, but not to like not in a detrimental way, but I am very much aware of like skincare and things like that. So, you know, I can definitely relate here to what she feels. And I'm sure a lot of women can too. And she goes to the funeral, she sees a strange woman, and then she starts getting like these weird messages. Like she gets this message on her phone, and it's like a video of this woman, and she is in water, and she has these like lotions and stuff, and she's like, oh, those were my mother's home. And she starts like really wondering what's going on, and she actually like stops the video, but she is still like hearing it. So it's like very weird. But that's how far I am now. I'm not super far into it yet. I am going to start reading it more now. I'm excited about it. Hi friends, it's Saturday morning now, and I've been reading a lot. I also read quite a bit last night. I'm about 45% into Rouge, and I am absolutely loving it. Like, might be one of my favorites of the year. I mean, so far, I mean, I'm not even halfway through yet, but I am obsessed with this book. It's so good. So yesterday I was talking about how her mom was very concerned about beauty, and this is totally transferred on to her daughter, but it does go deeper into their mother-daughter relationship, and overall her mom was just not very great. Oh, I don't know if I ever even said the main character's name. It's Mirabelle. Some people call her Mira, some people call her Belle, but I'm just gonna call her Belle. And she goes more deep into how her mom is kind of envious of her youth, and how she will look at her daughter, and even though she doesn't love everything about her appearance, she does envy how young she is. And just like all these things that have obviously affected her growing up. And on top of that, she also goes into how her mom kept bringing all these men home. Like, they were always coming into their house. Some of them were nice to Belle, some weren't, and how it was like a constant. And sometimes she had multiple men at one time, and she grew up with that, and that has definitely affected her. You know, we come to find out that her mom was severely in debt. Like, had taken out multiple loans recently, had sold the dress store that she owned to like her co-owner, and like so much in debt to the point where like Belle's like, really the only option is to sell her condo and hopefully, you know, break even. Like, like she's wondering if she's even gonna like get out of all the debt by selling this condo. And this condo is like amazing view of the coast in California, like a very coveted real estate area, but it's like pretty run down. Like, she hasn't taken good care of this place at all. And she goes to her mom's condo, and for the first time after the funeral, and she's staying there, and there's like this guy named Tad there who was like the window guy, a handyman. It seems like they definitely had some sort of relationship, and he's just there, and he's just kind of around. So that's a little bit weird, because he does show up the next day because he has a key to the house, and he's like, yeah, I'm just washing the windows. And I'm like, I don't know this person, that makes me uncomfortable. But she does say that he seems really nice, and he does seem really nice. It's kind of hard to know who to trust here. We have Tad, who's like, you know, we could sell some of these antiques and we could fix up this place. And I'm like, is he trying to take advantage of her? He seems nice, I don't know. And then we also have the shop owner that her mom had owned this dress shop with, and the mom had sold all of her equity in it to her so that she was now full owner. And then she comes and she's like, you know, what if I buy this house off of you? You've been in the family, you can come visit whenever you want. And that seems a little bit sus. So I am not sure who to trust here. But then she finds these shoes, and she finds these red ballet flats in her mom's house, and well, in her mom's condo, and she puts them on, like something's drawing her to them. She puts them on, and then she just like in a trance walks like through like on the coast, on the cliffs by the ocean to this one strange place, and it's like this red light is shining out of it, and she goes, and it's all very strange, like, and there's weird people are like talking to her, and they're like, we're so happy you're here, blah blah blah, like you have the beauty, all of this stuff. And then she wakes up and she's back at home, and she's like, oh no, I didn't do my 15-step skincare routine last night. And and then she's like worrying about that. But then she was like, how did I get back home? And actually what happened to her mom and how she died was that she was walking on the cliffs, and she either fell or jumped. Like, no one really knows the truth. So now it's like, well, obviously it has something to do with these shoes and what was happening there, but everything's very strange, weird. Like, it's very much like cocoon and like death becomes her in a way to where we have these people, they seem like so full of youth. And she even talks about when she had seen her mom 3 months prior to her death and the last time she saw her, and she got in the car from the airport, like her mom picked her up and she was like, what did you do? Because she was like glass skin, you could bear, like she looked not human. So I am so excited to see where all this goes, because I'm loving it so far. It's very strange, but in the best way. And the other element that we have going on is that she's totally missing a year out of her memory, like a year from 1988. And like she's going through this house, like going through stuff, hoping to sell it. And she keeps finding like some of these things that reminds her of this time in her life that she has totally, completely forgotten. And another part is that at the very beginning of the book, talking about being little, sitting in her bedroom, and her mom is sitting at her vanity that her mom had bought her, and like looking into the mirror and talking about youth and aging and our skin and beauty, and then like talking into the mirror, like who's the prettiest of them all, like kind of, you know, Snow White thing. But then Belle says that she like remembers seeing like something in the mirror. So I'm wondering if like something there is going to come back in. I don't know, and it does seem like some of the people from this spa are like following her, and she does get like a free service. So, and she's going to go and see what it's all about. But yeah, loving the whole premise so far, loving how weird it is and how just up in the air everything is. And we don't have a clue of anything other than there's this weird spa and that you put these shoes on and they take you somewhere like in a trance like state. So I wouldn't say that it's scary at all, but it is very much like anxiety inducing. Like it makes you feel uncomfortable, especially like wondering who to trust and who not to trust, and then just the confusion of what is going on with her. And you know, she's also questioning, was she mentally okay? Hi friends. Okay, so it's Sunday morning now. Yesterday we ended up just going to get some lunch and went to a few stores, and we did mini golf. We went to a thing called Monster Mini Golf and it was a lot of fun, just something cute to do. But I didn't update you on Rouge yesterday because as I continued reading, I was like, I don't want to give anything away, and I think that it's best if I just give like my final thoughts after I finish, because once we do get into the spa territory of it, it does get very spoilery. Now I'm done. I did really enjoy it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It did have some issues, but if it was on Storygraph, I would have given it like 4.25 stars, but on Goodreads, I gave it 4 stars. So yesterday I was talking about how we start out with this mother-daughter relationship right off the bat. It's rough. Like the mom is envious of her daughter's youth. Belle, who is envious of her mother too, and her mother has like this freedom. She has this fair skin, and Belle's dad is Egyptian, so she does have a darker skin tone and darker hair, and she's been envious of her mother for this reason. And then also like how her mom kept having these men come in and out of their home constantly, like it felt very unsafe. Once her mom does pass, I do think she's like dealing with a lot of this grief and trying to understand how to deal with the grief, especially considering like this lack of relationship and closeness that she had with her mother, and maybe like a feeling of resentment all around where she wasn't close with her mom. And once we get to the spa, it just gets so weird. Like she puts on her mom's red shoes, and from that point on, it's very much like a fever dream, surreal. You're wondering what is real, what is not. And this spa, you know, like I mentioned, they have these jellyfish, and the whole procedure is very mysterious. Like she doesn't remember anything from the procedures, so she doesn't know what is actually happening, but she knows that there is something with a jellyfish. And then they also have like these beautiful rose gardens outside of this mansion and the spa, and once her mom does die, like everyone is like, she's gone to the roses, she's gone to the roses, and we're like, what does that mean? So what did the roses, the jellyfish, these weird people, we also have like all these mirrors are cracked and broken in her home. We're trying to understand what actually happened here and what happened with her mother. And do we ever get a super clear answer to that? No, but kind of. Like, I think it's up for interpretation. I mean, I think everything, once she puts those shoes on, it's like very much up to what you want to believe it is. And I really enjoy that about it. I think that's pretty cool. But it's funny with these jellyfish and how just this comments so well on the beauty industry and consumerism as a whole, and this feeling of need or FOMO, especially with like the beauty space, and how you need to have all these steps and do all of these things. And it's every time I picked up this book, I was like, I need to do a face mask, I need to do something, because I was just reading all these things and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was just so funny. Like, especially the first half is funny. Like, there's so many parts of it where I laughed and I was like, this is so spot on that I have to laugh. It does kind of remind me of Death Becomes Her as well. I don't know if I mentioned that previously, but I definitely do get those feels from it. And we also just have this commentary on consumerism, and then like the parallels that I think I mentioned yesterday too, the parallels with La Mer and how they sell this cream and they just have these like weird fish tanks full of sea kelp, and they pump like electrical currents through them to basically just sell you a jar of petrolatum, like petroleum jelly with, you know, some other ingredients in there for hundreds to thousands of dollars, and how people believe it's the best skincare product in the world, where it's really just not. Like, you can buy similar stuff at the drugstore for like 20 bucks. So I loved how it kind of had that parallel there. But as things go on, things get weirder. She starts seeing things, she starts seeing people, and she starts having like this weird, she starts talking about this relationship that she has with this person, and she imagines him as Tom Cruise. And and I feel like a lot of people will probably hate that. Like, it does go deep into it. She just keeps calling him Tom Cruise and like fascinating about Tom Cruise. But then you're trying to decipher, is she remembering something from her childhood, or is this actually happening present day? Like, is this person here? And he's like, my name's Seth. My name's Seth. But she's just like, she calls him Tom Cruise, and it keeps envisioning Tom Cruise. And it's totally ridiculous and weird, but funny. And I actually really like the Tom Cruise aspect of it. I also think that her like envisioning this person and this Tom Cruise, I think that it kind of was her way of dealing with some childhood trauma, and maybe even dealing with some of these men that were constantly coming in and out of her life with her mom, and her like trying to, you know, grapple with it. And I feel like I feel like that kind of resurfaced now. Like, that's how I interpreted it. Like, I feel like it was almost like a coping mechanism kind of thing. But things keep going on. She keeps putting these shoes on, and she's just like in this different universe pretty much. Like, what happens in the spa is very mysterious, very creepy. The members and the people here definitely, it's just like, it gives you this sense of dread and anxiety, and I think that was very successful. Is it scary? No. Like, it just makes you feel uncomfortable and like confused. And like the sense of dread, it kind of reminds me of the movie Mother a little bit, where you're watching it and you're like, what is happening? And you feel like you don't have the answers, and you just like want her to like be able to escape this world or dream or whatever she is stuck in. And I thought it was pretty successful in that way. So if you're looking for like general horror, I don't think this is that, but it definitely is successful in being creepy and like full of dread. So I recommend it for that. I did really like this, and I also love just like how we're visiting her grief, and then her relationship with her mom, and her grappling with all of that. But then on top of that, the talk of the beauty space, the standards, the consumerism, and how she has bought in so fully to this, and she truly thinks that like this can be what sets her life apart. This can change things for her, and she just keeps getting deeper and deeper into it. And the ending I did thoroughly enjoy. It goes kind of in a way that, well, I mean, I don't think any of this you could really anticipate, because it's so strange and so bizarre, but I do think that the ending is satisfying and doesn't give a clear answer, but I think it wraps it up pretty well. I think I'm trying to decide if I liked it better than Bunny. I think I do. I think I do. Especially like the first half. The first half was like 5-star, 5 billion star. I loved the first half so much, and I related to it, and I just thought it was so spot on in what it was doing. The second half, not so much, and this is why it brought my score down a bit, is because in the second half, we keep having these like hallucinations isn't the right word, but like these surreal scenes are just totally bizarre, and also with the spa too, and then it does get a bit repetitive at this point. I feel like the 50% point to like 75% felt very repetitive, and I got a little bit bored in there, but that's okay. And then it does pick up again, and then we're at the spa and we're like finding more things out, and we get a bit of a climax at the spa. So that sounds wrong. We get everything kind of wraps up a little bit better at the spa. So and we do end up with a satisfying ending, I think. So overall, I really enjoyed it. If you like weird girl reads, if you like books about consumerism, beauty standards, I think this is absolutely solid. It is strange, it is weird, it is very like surreal. The synopsis says it's a mix of Snow White and Eyes Wide Shut, and I definitely agree with that. I think that's spot on. So if that interests you, I think you will like this. I also would say there's a sprinkling of Death Becomes Her in here. So yeah, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know what we're gonna do. Probably nothing, because I start my new job tomorrow, but I'm trying to just take it easy. But I am going to start Natural Beauty next, and hopefully I can knock that out today. I'm really excited about it. Also, just to keep like this train going on the beauty horror and the beauty standards. Well, hello friends. So today we didn't do a whole lot. We went on a walk. It's absolutely beautiful out today. It's like 65, so pretty. And then we went and got Mexican food. We got a margarita and some veggie fajitas, and that was so good. And then I came home and I've just been reading. I've been sitting on the patio and reading Natural Beauty, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so good so far, like better than Rouge so far. Like I am absolutely shocked by this book. And I think about Rouge too, I was talking about how it really tied in consumerism and beauty standards so like effectively. This is doing an even better job. Like I'm shocked. So our main character, we haven't learned her name. Like it hasn't told us her name yet that I know or remember. So I'm just going to say our main character, and that's definitely a choice, but it's also a choice that I appreciate, because I'm sure if you watch my videos, a lot of times I'm like, our main character. I'm not good with names. I don't remember names. It's not my strong suit. I struggle. So, and I was like, I'm pretty sure we don't have a name in this. And then I literally Googled like, what's the main character's name? And it's like, we aren't outright told the name. And I was like, okay, good. I didn't just like totally miss that somehow. So we haven't been given the name, but she, sorry, I just envisioned the Michael Scott scene where he's like, I was never given a name. I'll try to insert it if I can find it.
Hello, who is this? Who is this?
I was never given a name.
We started with our main character. She is working as a dishwasher at a restaurant, and she is talking about how her hands are struggling. She'll peel like the skin off, and how satisfying it is. But then one day this person comes in and they recognize her, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're the pianist. Is that you? Like, I know who you are. And she's like, yeah, it's me. I don't play piano anymore. And this person works at this company called Holistic, and she offers her a job. And Holistic is a very intense high-end beauty company. They have skincare products as well as like all these procedures that they perform, and they're all very much tailored to you. And our main character, she starts at this job and she gets all these products, all these supplements, powders, drinks, multiple things, and all tailored to herself. And they also give all the employees like this necklace. It's like this mandala necklace, and it like tracks their heart rates and like their emotions and all kinds of things. All these things work together to like boost the person to like these certain beauty standards, as well as like these certain like health milestones. But like these milestones are not about wellness, they're about beauty. And she talks about how as she keeps working there, how she is literally glowing, tries all these new serums, and like every aspect from her hair, her lashes, her skin, her legs, like her legs seem longer, like all these things have changed from using the products and doing these procedures at Holistic. And she talks about how her roommate, is very jealous, is starting to get very jealous. People are really drawn to the fact that she works at Holistic and they find it really impressive. And she's like honing in on that. So, and loving it, which, it makes sense. That happens. Going back, we learn that when she was 6 years old, she started learning piano from her parents. And they were very good, and they actually couldn't play for many years due to the Chinese Revolution and them migrating, and for them, immigrating to America, not having the funds, not having a piano, and all these things, and being in internment camps where they were not able to play piano, and it was like a very hard time for them. They couldn't read English, so they, would get jobs and new opportunities just from word of mouth, and her mother was able to teach piano lessons, and eventually after some time they decided, okay, we'll teach our daughter too, and she learned from them like these amazing techniques, interesting ways to play that gives it like an edge and so much emotion to the piano that many saw her as a savant. And they upload some videos of her online playing piano, and it does get semi-popular. And then she's given the scholarship. They live in New Jersey, but she is given a scholarship to a school in New York for music when she's 13, and she goes, all expenses paid, boarding, everything, from an anonymous donor. And she talks about how her parents had nothing, like they struggled, and how hard they worked. And when she went to school, and she was given some allotment of spending money with this scholarship, and how she felt bad, but she was so bullied at school for her looks, how she didn't look like everyone else, how she was younger. And instead of giving this money to her family like she knew that they needed, she used it on clothes, bleaching her hair, these things to adhere to the beauty standards and to try to fit in. And eventually she realizes that's not going to work anyway, because everyone's just mad at her because no matter what, anyone is upset because she has so much talent, and more talent than any of them, and they are jealous. But she's heavily bullied, and she is young, and it's very sad. Every year, her family would drive from New Jersey in their old car that could barely make it, with seatbelts that weren't even functioning, and and they would go to her end-of-year recital, and she just cherished those moments so much when her parents could come here and play. And even her professor would be like, you play so differently during these recitals, it's so special. And it's because her parents are there watching her. And after this one recital, they don't have money to go out to dinner or anything, but her parents have brought food, and they eat it in her dorm room, and they eat it in her dorm room, and they end up staying later because they're having such a good time, and she's just cherishing this time with her parents, and she just really loves it so much. And then they leave later, and they end up getting into an accident, and this is all in the synopsis, so I'm not ruining anything for you, but they get into an accident. They are not mentally there anymore, and they are not physically able to move. So they are both in a home where they are taken care of. And because of that, she has stopped playing piano totally, because with her grief and how the accident happened after one of her recitals, like everything just piled up to where she was like, she just couldn't play anymore. And that's what got her into the position where she was working as a dishwasher at a restaurant. I'm sorry. It made me so sad when I was reading it. Like, I was struggling. Like, I was nearly in tears. So, it's very sad. But she gets this position at Holistic. She's very happy. She's buying into everything. Like, she is buying into it so hard. She has drank the Kool-Aid, and she's like, yes, all these practices, all these procedures, all these supplements, they're so worth it. And, but she is seeing it in real life, like her body and her glow. At one point, she even says that she was like woken up because her skin was glowing so much. So, like, that's what we're talking about here. It's just, like, I'm 45% in, and it's starting to get weird now. We have these different people that she works with, and some of them just, like, changing themselves, changing their names, people ending up looking not at all, like, racially what they were initially. Has also formed a relationship with this girl named Helen, who is the niece of Victor, who is the owner of Holistic and like the parent company that owns Holistic, and they're kind of having this relationship. It's not sapphic yet. I do think it might turn into that, but they are just friends right now. And she learns a lot from Helen about where all these people come from, what they stand for, how Holistic ended up being what it is. It's very interesting. I do wonder what kind of turn this is going to take, because from the beginning, the people at Holistic make a lot of comments about her being Asian. I'm wondering where it's going to go from there. And we're also seeing like these procedures keep getting more and more intense, and also like them tracking like all of her emotions and the mandala. Like, I've already seen some of these things that are like very invasive and just to like the employees themselves. So I am curious where this is going to go, how weird it's going to get, and the commentary too. Like, I'm loving the commentary. We're hitting so hard on the beauty standards from the very start, from when she was talking about her time at school and her wanting to fit in, her bleaching her hair and her hair just falling out because she didn't know how to bleach it, and she was left with like orange burnt off hair. These different aspects of beauty standards, as well as like weight, multiple things, like all the things you could think of, it's hitting on that, as well as like consumerism, where we have these procedures and supplements where people are just like buying into it so hard, and they're like, oh, this is the next best thing, this is the next best thing, to the point where even the CEO of the group that owns Holistic, he looks strange, like he looks weird, and it's because he's like so on board with trying new things. He was like, and he will basically just do anything to stop the aging process. It's wild. I'm loving it, and I've already been talking about it for like forever. I am not even halfway through yet, but I am so excited to see where this goes, and I can't wait to talk about it more. I really hope it keeps up with all the commentary and just keeps at this level for me, because I am absolutely loving it, and I hope it doesn't like drop down in the second half like Rouge did. So we will see. I mean, still Rouge was great, but I'm hoping that this keeps a steady upward slope. But yeah, we'll see, and I should be able to finish it in the next few hours. Like, I'm definitely trying to finish it tonight, so I will update y'all later. Hello, my friends. It is Monday morning. I didn't update you last night because I just got everything ready so that it's fresh for this morning before I start my new job. I am fully remote, so I have about 40 minutes before I have to be online. So I thought I would update you because I did finish Natural Beauty last night, and wow. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Absolutely freaking loved this book. I love the commentary on her race and her culture and beauty, and how she has totally accepted changing herself for this idea of opulence and just to meet these standards. And things just get progressively worse throughout. Like, what you think is like innocent supplements, skincare products, no, there's more to the story. I am a huge fan of Weird Girl books. You will thoroughly enjoy this. I love the characters. I loved everything that it was saying, and it did it just so well in a way that I'm honestly shocked by how it clearly hit all of these points with beauty and consumerism, and made it so easily digestible and also just entertaining to read. And the horror is definitely there. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's scary. It definitely is dire. Like, it's similar to the way that Rouge was. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, this is scary, but this definitely has more elements to it that are horror and a little bit more creepy than Rouge did. I just love this book. I mean, from yesterday when I was talking, I think you could tell that I was pretty passionate about it from the start, and that just kept continuing on, and we learn more things about the people over this company and her friend Helen, who is related to the owner, and then just the people involved. You know how I was talking about how our main character was never, like, we were never given a name for her? That does come into play, and the way that it does, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so clever. I absolutely love this. So she has her parents who are in this home where they have to have care all around the clock. She's struggling to pay these bills. She's struggling to pay rent for this hospital. I mean, hospitals like that, I mean, I can't even imagine how much it would cost to pay for something like that for 2 people monthly. Like, no, that would be such a huge weight on your shoulders. I don't even know how you would do that. And like, her talking about her relationship with her parents, and it was so heartfelt. Like the scenes with her parents, like a lot of them, I got almost teary. Like it was just so sad to read, but it was beautiful at the same time. Like the relationship that she had with her mom and dad and how things had changed and like what she was willing to do for them was heartbreaking. And as time goes on, this business and this company, Holistic, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know who they're recruiting into this, and they don't care. And I think it's a very good, lesson to just how all these companies, it's kind of reminiscent of Goop in a way, where they're all about wellness and self-care, but all these things there's so many things that they do that are unkind. They're not inclusive. They don't really care. They just want to turn a profit, and that's every single company. I think it's smart to always take a step back and understand what we are being fed and how it's all PR and how it's all on purpose from these brands and companies that we interact with from day to day. Some are better than others, but some companies, we think that they are amazing and woman-owned and have all this diversity, and then things come out about like toxic workplace and stuff like that. And this definitely applies here, but in an even worse way. What ends up happening, usually the twist would be something I wouldn't enjoy, but it fit so well with this that I was absolutely happy, and I was surprised by it. I didn't think that this is what was going to happen, and I hadn't read any reviews, and I would also recommend not reading reviews, because as soon as I went to Goodreads, like people were giving stuff away, and I was like, no, why would you give this away? Spoiler-free reviews, and I feel like they were giving like one of the biggest things away. So I would recommend stay off of Goodreads before you read this. Do not look it up on Goodreads. I'm not giving it away, so don't worry about that there. But I did enjoy the twist, and there's a few of them. There's a few twists, and I had my jaw on the floor a couple of times. Like I was reading, and literally I was like, so I was shocked a few times. So successful in what it was doing and what it was trying to say, and I absolutely loved every second of it. I could not put it down, and there was never a moment where I was bored or thought, we could take this out. I would just highly recommend this read. I loved it so much, and I was so happy with it. I did not read any more last night. Like I said, I picked up and got everything ready for today, and I hadn't planned on cleaning yesterday, but last night I was like, what, it's like 7:30. Let me clean and get stuff all good to go. And I'm really glad I did that, because it was just nice to wake up to a clean house this morning, and I'm ready to start my job in 30 minutes. So I haven't read, hashtag Thigh Gap. I am planning on reading it tonight. It's very short. It's like a novella, 100 pages. And I will probably update you again in between then, just about my day, and let you know how my first day is going. So if you care. But yeah. Hello, my friends. It is Monday night, and my first day went well. I mean, it was a lot of like onboarding stuff, paperwork, doing training videos, like that kind of thing. But overall, it went really well. It's always like anxiety inducing to start somewhere new, but everything went really well and everyone's super nice. So I had a really great first day. Tonight I finished editing a video and I'm uploading it to YouTube now, but I have started hashtag Thigh Gap by Chandler Morrison. I give another disclaimer, trigger warning here for weight loss, talk about EDs, self-harm, anything in that realm, because that is in this book. This is considered extreme horror, so just keep that in mind. But I just wanted to remind you at that point of the video where we are going to be touching on topics like that, and that's what this book is about. But our main character, she's a model. She talks about how she eats very little and basically survives on a cocktail of drugs, so not very good. And she talks about just how she has this feeling of superiority that comes with it, and how she's able to, not give her body what it needs, but she's able to like exist beyond these normal needs that your body would have, and how it gives her like a high. And she is interacting with a lot of people. She used to be overweight, and she talks about how people would make fun of her in high school for it, and how when she was 19, she moved to LA, and after a year of being out there, she decided to finally do something about it, and she took it way too far, obviously. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, because this is written by a man, and I was just curious how it was going to be and if it was going to be successful, and so far it's doing a good job, so I appreciate that. But she has started seeing, She has started finding this weird substance around, like it's a mucus-like substance. And when she was in high school, people used to call her Slug. So I don't know if like this is a imagining, if it's really there or what is actually happening, but she keeps coming in contact with this mucus substance. She says it smells like bleach in a way, or cleaner, and she doesn't know what it is. But that's where we are so far. Hello, my friends. It is the next day, and I wanted to update you on hashtag Thigh Gap. I did finish it. I'm surprised at how well this woman was written, considering it's written by a man. It comes to like subjects like this, especially when it comes to like weight loss and the beauty standard space, I feel like it might be harder for like a male author to grasp that, but I think that Chandler Morrison did an amazing job with this. Like her character's thought processes, they were very believable and like happened in a way where I was like, yeah, I could definitely understand that happening, and just how the spiral would happen. It definitely does get dark. I don't think it's scary. It's more of like eerie, creepy, makes you uncomfortable. All of our characters are really horrible. Like even our protagonists, like they're all just horrible people. They're very fat phobic. They only care about their looks. She talks about how pretty she is and how she's often the skinniest and prettiest person in the room. But at the same time, she had to go through the process of looking at every other woman there and then deciphering how she compared to them and if she was better than them. And it was just so messed up. And then something happens to where she does see this one girl who she believes is perfect, and it sends her into a downward spiral. She turns to binging, her like mental health, the pill popping, all of those things. It gets dire and more worse, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And we're wondering what's going to happen with her. Like, is she going to keep going down the spiral until like the end, or is she going to like get herself help? And she does go to therapy. Her therapist is awful. He does not help. Everyone in the book has these horrible beliefs and like views on people in society, and like all they care about is looks too, and they're just all like so self-absorbed, couldn't care less about anyone else, and are just horrible humans basically. So, and that's the point. You're not supposed to like any of these people. You're not supposed to like our main character, but at the same time, you understand how she's like destroying herself. And even though she's a horrible person, like you are rooting for her and you want her to come out of it and be a better person and survive. She seems so mentally unstable and like on the brink of a collapse and a breakdown in like every aspect of her life. And she's very alone, and it's just so sad. But she also starts seeing things, and she starts seeing different versions of herself in the mirror. It turns very much into like body dysmorphia horror, so trigger warning there for sure. And she just looks in the mirror and she sees like her past self when she was heavier, and then she also sees like a future self where she is like a skeleton basically, and she can't decipher what is reality anymore, and she has no idea who she is, what she looks like in that mirror, and who she's actually staring at. And we know like we're watching something horrible unfold and like someone destroying themselves. It's definitely a hard one to read, especially if you ever, I mean, I feel like most women at some point we have had some issues where we are dieting and like don't understand what we look like, and we're just so harsh on ourselves, and men too. Like we all have standards that we feel like we have to live up to, and all these stupid things that like people say are and aren't attractive, and I feel like this conveys it very well. A bit of a twist at the end, which I did enjoy quite a bit. There was actually a couple things that I really enjoyed. There was like one thing near the end with another model in like full circle that I really enjoyed that part of it, that scene. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm giving it 4 stars. I don't think it was perfect. Some of the writing and like the conversations were written kind of strange. Like they would start saying something, then they would stop, and then it would take me out of it. And then we also had like a ton of like shopping and retail therapy kind of talk and designer talk. They talk about sunglasses like 17 billion times in this book. Like it's really funny because they mention sunglasses so many times. I'm like, this whole book could have just been an ad for sunglasses. Like I think that our main character, like every time we were introduced to a character, it like said what sunglasses they had on, and I was like, that's really interesting. It's gonna be the end of this vlog. Overall, we had a really solid one. I mean, hashtag Thigh Gap, solid. Loved it. And then we had Natural Beauty, absolutely freaking phenomenal, 5 stars. I'm obsessed with that book. And then Rouge, which was another solid read, more surreal and more like weird, strange, but I still had a great time and I gave that one 4 stars. So it might also be that I just love beauty horror. I don't know. I am definitely going to do another reading vlog in the future where I read more beauty horror because I love it so much. I find it very interesting. I can relate to it. I feel like a lot of them are very like weird, like and strange, more of like a weird girl book, which I love. So so yeah, I will definitely do another one in the future. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Especially if you made it this far, I appreciate you and it means a lot to have you here. And I hope that you got some good recommendations and maybe ideas about these books and maybe you'll read some of them too. But yeah, thank you so much. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would help me a lot. And also subscribe if you haven't already. I do reading vlogs every single week. And I just want to say, after reading books like this, be easy on yourself and understand that you are beautiful. The standards and the beauty standards that we were given are crappy and they suck, and they don't matter. They don't. So I just want to say, you're beautiful the way you are. You deserve all the good things in life, and I hope you have a really amazing spooky rest of your week.